After disappointment at the World Cup, Gareth Southgate has a rather interesting summer ahead of him, leading England into the European Championship. So today, I'm going to look at what I think is the best possible starting 11. First off, there's actually not much of a decision to be made in goal for me. There are three choices. There's Jordan Pickford, there's of course Nick Pope, and there's Dean Henderson as well. Now, Henderson's made himself more of a number one at Manchester United. Jordan Pickford's had some wobbly moments, but does have a pretty solid England career to fall back on. But for me, it's got to be Burnley's Nick Pope. Not only has he proven himself to be a great goalkeeper, he's got fantastic ability, and we've seen it for Burnley throughout the rest of the season. And when he's been called up to England, he set a record for the most clean sheets in his first 6 appearances. At the moment, there's no better English goalkeeper on current form, so I think Pope should be number one choice. Having said that, we now move to the outfield, where I've gone for a 4-2-3-1 formation, and honestly, I did not think there would ever be this much debate over a right back spot. Now, I know Gareth Southgate has tinkered with the formation somewhat. Sometimes he's played 3 at the back, which is also technically a 5 at the back. But I think to make the most of all of the attacking talent that England have got, to put other teams on the back foot and use all the brilliance they've got going forward, they need to go with a back 4, and this brings with it its own problems. So there's 5 available options, I believe, for the right back spot, and I'm going to go through all of them. Firstly, there's Kieran Trippier. Good experience, good going forward, good defensively, but doesn't necessarily excel in either of those traits. Obviously, very good for set pieces. There's Kyle Walker, who's fantastic going forward, certainly with his athleticism and with his recovery pace. In terms of his actual technical ability when it comes to crossing and passing and even finishing if he gets in those positions, he can be a little bit suspect, and there are better options. Having said that, I would definitely take Kyle Walker in the squad. On top of this, there's also Reece James. Good defensively, fantastic going forward, but certainly at Chelsea in the last few months has played in more of a right wing back role as opposed to a right back role. That leaves for me the final 2, and one of them hasn't even played for England yet, and it's Wan Basaka. He needs to go, in my opinion, because 1 versus 1, I'm yet to see a good right back in the Premier League at the moment. I just think of all the teams that Manchester United have come up against, numerous times coming up against the likes of Raheem Sterling, especially one of England's best left wingers, up against one of England's best right backs, and Wan Basaka's had a brilliant game against him every time. No matter how fast the opposition forward thinks they are, he always just gets a foot in. Going forward, I think Wan Basaka is absolutely atrocious, but that's neither here nor there. The point is, playing a back 4 instead of a back 5, you don't rely on this wing back for width and for attacking threat. In a back 4, you normally, more often than not, rely on them, to win the ball back, to defend well against the left winger, and then give it to someone else who can go forward. So if he's not going to be in the squad, it leaves me with Trent Alexander-Arnold. Yes, he may not have reached the heights that he set in previous seasons, but he's just a victim of his own success. He was that good in the Champions League winning campaign for Liverpool and the subsequent Premier League campaign last season that this season he's had a little bit of a drop-off, but he's still been pretty good. Defensively, yes, he can be very suspect, but going forward, he's absolutely fantastic, and he's one of the very few who actually plays in a back 4 on a consistent basis. Liverpool never changed to a back 5 or a back 3, and he's played there now for 3 consistent seasons, and I think he will be back in the squad. Moving in to the centre of defence, and really for me there's only 2 players who stand out as very good choices. The rest of them seem to be anywhere between decent to like a good backup. Those are Connor Cody, Tyrone Mings, Eric Dyer, Michael Keane. They're all good, but I don't quite think good enough. There's 2 for me that have to start centre-back. One is John Stones. It's been no secret that his revelation this season at Manchester City has been incredible, and he's definitely looking like one of the best centre-backs in the league at the moment, and alongside him, Harry Maguire. I read a very interesting stat the other day, that as of now, on the day I'm recording this, Harry Maguire has played in every single minute of every single league game for Manchester United since joining from Leicester in 2019. That is 71 league games in a row. You could point to the fact that United avoided other options with the likes of Lindelof and Bailly not exactly being too promising, but he has struck up a good partnership with Lindelof. He's played fairly consistent. United are second in the league. He's a captain of the club. I actually do think he is a very good defender. Is he up there with the world's best? No. Have other countries got better centre-backs? Yes. But is he the best choice that England have got at the moment? Absolutely, so he should be the partner for John Stones. Into the left-back spot, it's a pretty straight shootout between Luke Shaw and Ben Chilwell. Both are fantastic, both have had pretty good seasons, and both are definitely worthy of a spot. However, I'm just going for Luke Shaw because I think he's had more of a fantastic season at left-back. So moving into the centre of midfield, and this is actually where I think England struggle. In the past, it's been the focal point for England. Scholes, Lampard, Gerrard, they even had Owen Hargreaves, who was brilliant at that World Cup a few years ago. There's been so many good English central midfielders, but not really now. Jordan Henderson is the obvious one who you would think would be in a starting position. However, he hasn't played in almost 3 months at Liverpool. I'm not even sure if he's going to get any match fitness leading up to the Euros. So for me, he definitely goes in the squad, but he's not a starter. The one player who's got to start is Declan Rice. Not only has he been so key to West Ham's push for the Champions League this season, but he's also put in some stunning performances for England. And I think as defensive midfielders go, not only is he probably only the real defensive midfielder that England have got, but he's certainly the best option to anchor that midfield. Ahead of him then is where the difficulty comes. So we've spoken about Jordan Henderson, but I'm going to go with Mason Mount. To be honest, one of the main reasons I'm going with Mason Mount is that he's had a brilliant season. He definitely deserves a place in this England team, but there are other better players ahead of him in a position that Mason Mount actually plays. Add on top of this, his relationship off the field with Declan Rice is very good as well, and I think they could transfer that onto the pitch. And honestly, it'll be another good player who's attacking from slightly deeper, because like I mentioned, and I'll get on to in a minute, there are far better attacking players than Mason Mount, I believe, in the attacking positions. Alongside this though, there could be a late call for Jude Bellingham. He trained with the England squad and he made his debut as well in the last round of international matches, and it's clear that he will not be part of the under-21 setup. He's so young, but he's doing it for Dortmund in the Champions League. We've all seen it. He's brilliant, and for me, there's no way that he doesn't go. Whether he starts or not, obviously, because he's void of any top-level international experience, is a completely different question, but I think he's got a pretty good shout. It's actually quite good for Bellingham that he's coming through in a time where there's not really many other top English central midfielders to contend with. So moving forward, and I'm going to, well, the most attacking of the midfield three. The number 10 role for me, it is the wizard that is Phil Foden. It can be no one else. This is one of the positions where I think Mason Mount would have a great shout in playing in, if it wasn't for Foden. Maybe if Foden moves to one of the wings, Mason Mount can fill in. But he's had such a good season for Manchester City. Been so key to them, especially, which is especially impressive, considering how many stars Manchester City have. Like, they could, and they do, go out and buy a whole host of serious attacking talent. So the fact that a kid from their academy has made it through to the first team and become one of their key players just shows you how good he is. It's his form, plus the form of Jesse Lingard, which I think has been astonishing and definitely deserves a place in the Euro squad, which means that the likes of James Maddison might just miss out on the team altogether. Nothing against Maddison, I think he's a brilliant player, but he's coming through at a time where there are also other fantastic talents. So with this Mount, Rice and further forward Foden midfield, this is where the real difficulty comes for Gareth Southgate, for England fans who are picking their team like you guys can do in the comment section down below. And whilst you're at it, smash the like button because things are about to get dicey. Of course, we'll come on to the central attacker position in a minute as it's a rather fairly obvious choice. However, we will start on the left side. For me, there are three main options. Raheem Sterling has been terribly out of form in the last few months of Manchester City. Overall, phenomenal player. Has been great for Manchester City in the last years and brilliant for England, I will add as well. We all know what Sterling can do. He's definitely going to go. But is he the starting left winger? Jack Grealish, on the other hand, has missed quite a bit of football for Aston Villa, but it brings something so unique to the team, and I don't think he could be ignored. The other option is Marcus Rashford. Now, while I think Marcus Rashford's link-up play with Luke Shaw, considering I've picked Luke Shaw at left-back, is brilliant, he has a lot of ankle worries. He's been targeted in many games with those ankles and some rough tackles from defenders, and on top of all of this, it looks as though, according to Manchester United, he hasn't been training too much, he's been playing through the pain, and he needs a considerable rest period. Whilst I don't think he's going to get that rest period during the summer, I don't think he's going to be relied upon to play every single minute for England. And if there's any doubt about whether or not he's 100% fit, this is the European Championships. You can't have someone on the left wing who's not 100% fit if there are adequate replacements. If he was an absolute key must-have player in the team and the team will not work without him, yes, I can understand why you'd force him through not being 100% fit, but still being in the team. At the moment, if he's not, I'm going to have to go with Jack Grealish. This could change towards the end of the season. We could see Raheem Sterling in there, but I'm going for Jack Grealish at the moment. On the right side then, and there's actually a few less options. It seems to be that England are very good at bringing through one side of the team without the other. Think of all those years ago where they had a load of options of right-footed players and right-sided midfielders, but no one would go out on the left. They used to have like Joe Cole or even stick Stevie G out there. On the right-hand side, there's two options for me. One is Jadon Sancho, the main option. The man who's been talked about so much because he still doesn't play for Manchester United. He's done very well with Dortmund. The headlines have been stolen a little bit by Haaland. Jadon Sancho's still been very good. He seems to be the only out-and-out option I can think of on that right-hand side. Yes, there are other players who can play on that right-hand side. Harvey Barnes had a very good season. Sterling can play on that side. Phil Foden we've seen over there for Manchester City. There's also Bukayo Saka. Fantastic talent for Arsenal. Absolutely brilliant. Does tend to play more on the left-hand side than on the right, but can play there as well. So the fact there aren't other options who are definitely right-sided attackers, I'm going to have to go with Jadon Sancho, but that also is off his own merit and the fact that he's an unbelievable footballer. That leaves us with the central attacking position. Now, of course, it's going to be Harry Kane. He's the England captain. His record speaks for itself. For England, for Tottenham, he's got the most goals, the most assists this season in the Premier League. And if it wasn't for the fact the Spurs were having a really poor campaign, he'd be a shoo-in for player of the season. He is the best attacker that England have got. He's one of the best players England have got. And I think you'd go very far to find a fan who's completely unbiased, doesn't somehow hate Kane or the way he talks, or hate Spurs, who genuinely thinks that England would be better off without him. He 100% starts. Having said that, the good thing for England is they have Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Calvert-Lewin's been brilliant for Everton, and I think he's quite like Kane as well. They have similar stature. Calvert-Lewin's certainly a bit more athletic than Kane is, better at running in behind, quicker than Kane is, and better in the air. But if they swap the two, they don't have to change up their style too much. This does change when it comes to playing the likes of Patrick Bamford and Ollie Watkins. Those two, they're in pretty much a straight shootout. And the reason I'm not mentioning Tammy Abraham, he just cannot get a game under Thomas Tuchel. I think Tammy Abraham is a fantastic forward. He just can't get a game. And if he's not playing for Chelsea and if he's not match fit or match sharp, I'm not so sure you can really make a case for him to be in the squad ahead of someone like Patrick Bamford, who's done so fantastically well for Leeds and scored so many goals this season. Unfortunately, I think Bamford just, for whatever reason, won't get in the squad, and Ollie Watkins will. Watkins has been very good for Villa too, but I think Bamford, if anyone, deserves it. But of course, it will be Kane alongside, for me, Jack Grealish and Jadon Sancho. So there you have it. There is the team that I think will start the Euros for England. But of course, you guys let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, because a lot can change between now and the start of the Euros in the summer. Whilst you're at it, check out everything else we've got going on. And until next time, I will see you guys later.